Hi and welcome to RC Kicks. On today's show we're going to cover every car that I currently have in the collection, what modifications I've done, what modifications are coming, also if it's staying or if it's going. Also, I've just received another car that I've added to the collection, so I'll give you a sneak peek at what that is. It will have its own video and I'll go into more details about it in its own separate video, but since it's just arrived I was eager to show you. Anyway, let's crack on with the first car. So that's the Tamiya Falcon. Now this car has been on the channel for quite a while. It's been a project that I've been working on for the last month. It's almost finished, but I've got a few things that are waiting to arrive. I have received brand new original stickers, so I've got to remove all these stickers and put all the new ones on. All the new front end is done, a new motor, complete strip down, complete rebuild. There's one part on this car that's still broken, so I've just managed to get my hands on an original that will be here in the next 5 or 6 days, and then this project will be finished. This car has a lot of sentimental value for me, as it was the second car that I purchased back when I was young. So that's the Tamiya Falcon, and she's looking really nice now. The next car I'm going to talk about is my daughter's 5th birthday present, which is a Tamiya Lunchbox in bright pink. So I wasn't really that interested in this car when I bought it. It was purely as a present for her. There isn't much modifications I've done to this car. The main ones are I've changed the suspension and upgraded it to oil shocks that I had lying around from another project. Also, I've put dual shocks on the gearbox to help it with the acceleration slap. I've added extra weights to the bottom of the car and inside the chassis and all along the internal sections of the chassis, just to keep the weight distribution much lower to stop it from flipping over. The only other thing I've done is I've put metal body mounts. Everyone recommended changing from the plastic ones to metal ones, so that's what I've done. Apart from that, I put the stickers on, a few modifications on the stickers, and then I've lacquered the whole car to try and protect the paint a little bit more. Apart from that, it's pretty much done. So that is the Lunchbox, and a lot of people commented a lot about this car, and it's drawn a lot of attention, which I'm quite surprised. But I can kind of understand, after having the car in the collection now for about 2 or 3 weeks, you kind of start to fall in love with these quirky little kits. But yeah, so I may add one myself. But I don't know. I was thinking about maybe a SWAT van or something like that with the police lights on it. But we'll see later in the year. It depends if I get time or something like that. The only thing left to do before I wrap this up for her birthday is the shocks. I want to put the front shocks on the back and the back shocks on the front. I thought the shocks were the same size, but actually the front ones are slightly longer than the back ones. So I get a bit of rise when it sits here, which I kind of like. I like this kind of crazy look. But when you start to drive it, due to the extra weight I put into it, it just settles down. But I will swap them over because it's a 5-minute job. So I'll do that just before I wrap it up. So that's the Lunchbox. Next car in the collection is the Riri Fox, which is the Nova Fox. Now this was purely purchased as a sentimental. My father had one of these when I was young. He had an original Fox, obviously. And I wanted to do a homage to his car that he had when I was young. So I have a brand new body and I have extra wheels because his wheels were black and the body was painted like a mustard yellow color. So I'm going to basically do exactly the same thing. The only thing I'm waiting on is window masks. They're coming in the next week or so, and then I will be able to get this project done. It's only going to take 2 or 3 hours to finish that. But it's going to stay, this car. The only reason I would probably sell this one on is if I manage to get hold of a really good quality Fox for reasonable money. I will put a different motor in this car. Not sure what I'll put in it yet, but I'll just keep an eye out on eBay and see what randomly comes up. So that's the Nova Fox. Another car in the collection is the Schumacher Cat K1 Aero. This is a highly capable buggy, and there's lots of running footage of this car on the channel. This is my go-to buggy. This is crazy fast, runs brushless, runs lipo saddle packs. Very capable car. Not so much on the personality point of view, but if I just want to jump in the car and take it for a blast. Also, if you're going to the track, then this is the kind of thing you want. Yeah, this was staying. Yeah, I love this car. It's had most of the upgrades already done to it, so it doesn't really need anything. I've got about 7 different bodies for this car, but I seem to just gravitate towards this one, mainly because it just lives on the car, so I don't really change them over, but I've got loads of bodies with it as well, and wings. So yeah, lovely car, easy to drive, very fast. Next car in the collection is my son's TT02B chassis that's highly modified. There's lots of footage and information about this car on the channel. This is my fastest and most modified car of all. This one goes like absolute stink, this car. As you can see, it's massively modified. This is not going to stay this way. The brushless system is coming out, and something a little bit more tame is being put back in again because it's just too fast. Every time we go out, there's always something that breaks on this car that needs to be fixed. I'm slowly changing everything part by part that breaks. So yeah, at some point I'm going to have to change the chassis. But a fantastic car, but crazily too fast. So this will be staying. Next car is the fully restored original Boomerang. There's lots of videos on the process of putting this car back together again. It's fully finished. It's immaculate condition. It's got a few upgrades, like the shocks have been upgraded. I still have the originals, but I upgraded the shocks. It's ready to run. I'll probably end up selling this car on to use the money for another project, because you can buy Riris. If I ever get a hankering to have one of these again, I will probably just buy one of those. But yeah, lovely car. But I just need to get a few running videos in it, and then I'll probably sell it on. But a lovely car, very pretty looking, and absolutely immaculate. And for its age, you wouldn't know. Next is one of my favourite cars, and is the one that is lined up next for a full restoration on the channel. This is my 959. It needs a little bit of love. I have all the spare parts. I've got an original body, original stickers, but I've also got extra bodies coming, new drivers. All the parts that are broken, I have replacements, so I'm pretty much ready to go on this car. I'm just finishing up a few other bits and pieces before I really dig into this car. I get lots and lots of feedback about this car. It's very popular and a lot of people like it. It's quite rare as well, so there's not tons and tons of information about it. But if you've got one of these, I highly recommend joining the Facebook Porsche Tamiya 959 group. They're a fantastic bunch, really friendly, and they can point you in the direction of where to get parts and bits and pieces, as well as lots of advice about this car. So you should check them out, definitely, and a big shout to them. So this will be fully stripped down and fully rebuilt back to mint. This will probably happen in the next week and a half. So watch out for the videos on that. But that's my fantastic 959. Ah, this car is amazing. It's beautiful. Another car that's reasonably new to the collection is my original Hotshot. This car came as a runner, but since then it's just stopped working. I haven't had the chance to put some spanners on it to see what's going on inside. I think it's probably something like a loose connection or something along those lines. Doesn't need that much work considering how old this car is. It needs anti-roll bars and some new shocks and springs. I've got the springs, I've also got a new bumper. I could just give this a light overhaul, but I think I'm going to do a full strip down rebuild as well. Mainly because I just like this car so much. It's a beautiful car and I'd like to restore it back to basically mint condition if I can. So watch this space, there should be some more videos on this. There is some running videos on this car already on the channel, so you can go check those out if you want to see them. So that's the Tamiya Hotshot. This is another Schumacher K1. This is not the Aero, this is the K1 that came out before the Aero modification car. I actually purchased this as a parts car, believe it or not, but when it arrived it turned out to be in such good condition that it was a bit sacrilege to rip it to pieces. So I've had it as a second car. I purchased it as a rolling chassis, so I've been slowly drip feeding down parts to it to get it running again. It's pretty much finished now, apart from I just need to change the Tamiya connection to the connections that I run for my LiPo saddle packs on my K1 Aero, then I'll probably do a bit of driving, but this won't stay for very long. It's currently on brushed, it's not brushless, so it's nowhere near as fast as it really should be, but I want to drive it a little bit before I set it on, because I haven't actually taken it out. I haven't actually taken it out anywhere. But again, a beautiful car. I've got loads of bodies for this as well, but this one probably won't stay because it's a bit crazy having two of the same car. So that's the K1 from Schumacher. So the new car to add to the collection that arrived yesterday, well, that is a 2011 Tamiya Avanti in gunmetal grey. This one, I picked it up second hand, but it's never been driven outside. It's in immaculate condition, and I've wanted one of these for a long time. Ideally I would like an original, but the prices of those have crept up now quite high, and this one came up and it was a reasonable price, so, and it was in the condition that I wanted as well. So obviously finding a mint conditioned original Avanti is quite difficult and quite expensive these days. So I managed to pick up a 2011. I just love this car. The design is a beautiful car with amazing attention to engineering detail. Unfortunately, it didn't really pan out that well for this car in the racing scene, but I won't be taking this car racing anytime soon, and I just love the engineering on it. It will probably stay completely standard. I did see about upgrading to a carbon steering, but a lot of people just advise just to leave it as it is and put it on the shelf and take it out on a nice sunny day, and I have to agree. So this one is going to be a nice sunny day driving in the park kind of car. Otherwise it's going to sit on the shelf looking absolutely beautiful. I do have a new body coming for this so that I can turn it to standard box art, and then this will become my driving body. The replacement body arrived today, but unfortunately they sent me the wrong bottom. They sent me an Astute bottom instead of the Avanti bottom, so I had to send that back. I've got original stickers as well, so that's the Avanti, so I'm chuffed, and there will be a proper video on this car on the channel with some running footage as well. But that's the Avanti. So what's next for the channel? Well, I'm thinking of adding a crawler, something along the lines of a Range Rover from Traxxas. They do a special edition orange version that I really like. I want a Range Rover Defender myself, like a real one, but I haven't got around to picking one of those up yet. They're appreciating, so it's always good if you can buy a car that's appreciating in value. So I like the look of them, so maybe I'll go for a Traxxas one. The problem with those is they kind of start at £600 before you start adding all the brass and all the upgrades, and so if I decide to add one of those to the collection, I'll probably have to look at selling off one or two other cars to help fund that kind of project. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see something like a Traxxas 4x4, or whether you'd prefer that I took that money and invested in it in other buggies, something like that, or maybe a Tamiya 4x4. So put something in the comments and let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps this little channel. And thanks very much. See you on the next one.